of trust. And when there is trust, people are bound to work in an efficient manner. Good leaders are able to cater to not just the emotional, financial, but also the personal needs of their team members, which is another important reason why we need leadership in the 21st century. I hope everybody can still hear me and you have not lost me. Are we together? If you have any question, Hanan, do we take question now or wait till the end?
We can take them at the end if you want. We already got 4 questions in the Q&A section.
Okay, all right. We'll take the question. Just keep your questions coming, and we'll take them um, in a bit. John Maxwell, who is a foremost leader, expert on leadership, designed what he called the 5 levels of leadership. The 5 levels of leadership, though they are hierarchical, but somebody can fall from the ultimate, which is the pinnacle, down to the position. And it depends on your condition that you are. But it is very, very beneficial for us to understand, using these levels, to understand you know, the role that we can play in our different positions per time. Everybody starts out as a leader from the minimum, which is the positional leadership, where people follow you not because of anything, because it's a right. In other words, you are the CEO, you're my direct um, report person. By virtue of your position, I would obey whatever you tell me to do. Not necessarily because I want to do it, but because I have to. It's a must. By virtue of your position, I must follow what instruction, whatever instruction you give. This is the basic form of leadership. And it is very, very easy to remain at this level all through the rest of your life. You must aim to go higher. At this level, it is required that the leader empathizes with the people. It is very, very important that the leader is able to praise good work so the motivation is increased. At this level, people just want to follow the rules. What does the company policy says? What does the regulation says? Am I allowed to do this? In other words, you've been given a job description that you must follow to the dot. But don't remain here. Move to the next level of leadership, which is permission. Under permission, people follow you because they want to, because of the relationship you've built with them over time. When you give them tasks to do, they would want to do it because there's a relationship and a trust that has already been established. And for that, they would appreciate and try to help you to perform very, very well at this level of leadership. You need to treat all of your employees equally. As leaders, it is quite easy. Sometimes me, myself, personally, I fall into this trap where if there's one person on the team that is really, really doing well, because that person is doing exceedingly well, whatever benefit comes or whatever other assignment comes, instead of giving it to other people, you want to treat this one more special than other people. And that kind of creates a discord between team that drives people apart. As leaders, we must do our best to treat everyone equally with equal respect and always support your team members. Make sure that every of your team member work together, even though sometimes some people don't want to work with other people in the team. But do your best as a leader to bring people together at this level. And as a leader, you must meet and exceed their goals. Leaders are held to a higher standard. You're held to a higher standard. People are looking up to you. So you must exceed the goals and expectations of your team at this level. This next level of leadership that you must aim for is the production. At this level, you are producing results. People are not following you just because they want to, but people are following you because of what you've done for them at a personal level. At a personal level, they are following you because they trust you to give advice that would help them, move in their career or move more closely towards what they believe in. They trust you to be able to resolve conflicts. They trust you at this level that they've seen you motivate people to deliver results in either your organization or on your project, whatever it may be. They've seen you done that work excellently. To excel at this level, they typically people at this level typically make connections that the employees need to feel engaged. In other words, no one is left behind. They listen, leaders at this level listen closely and give direction that makes sure that ensures everyone is on track to achieve whatever goal has been set for your organization or for your project. The next level, which is a higher level where every one of us should be aiming for, is people development. As a leader, as a leader on the African continent, over the years, our old leaders have produced leaders that want to, take power just for the sake of taking power for personal gain or because of greed on their part. We must aim to develop other leaders, reproduce ourselves in other people. That's the next level of leadership we must aim for. We must aim to reproduce ourselves in other people. You gain more and more respect at this stage because you are able to not just direct other people below, but you're able to bring people to your level, to a place where they're also able to inspire and recreate their own self. Like I said before, alone you can only do much. But when you bring all these people, you start developing more leaders. It becomes a very, very strong force and a strong cord of support that each person supports the other person to get faster at the goal. At this stage of leadership, you need to be consistent, you need to be honest, because one tiny mistake of dishonesty can throw your whole team off balance. If they notice any trace of dishonesty in you, people can no longer trust you. At this level, you are leading by example. You make fair decisions and you mentor other people to your level. And the ultimate level of leadership is the pinnacle where people follow you not because of right, not because of relationship, but because of the respect you command. In other words, people follow you because of who you are and what you represent. What are your values as a human being? You must have values that govern your life as a leader. Because through this value, people are able to buy into you as a person and buy into what you represent. They are motivated to go the extra mile. And at this level, you are able to also produce other leaders that, developing other people to come all the way on the ladder of leadership. Any question at this point? There are a lot of questions. 11. Um, Let me quickly take questions at this junction and then we'll go into the leadership theory. Oh,
Yeah.
sorry. Is it? I see somebody saying that there's music in the background. Is the background still noisy?
No, no, it's not
Okay.
anymore. Yeah.
All right. Um,
Asma, are you
Somebody
here?
talks about the growth mindset. How the growth mindset helps us as leader. Some people as leaders, we cannot afford to have a fixed mindset. If you've not read the book on mindset, it's a book by Professor Dweck. I can't remember the subject of that book, but if you can find it's about mindset. So she said that some people have growth mindset and other people have a fixed mindset. But as we've grown over the years, neurologists have been able to confirm to us through scientific data that the brain is malleable. There is no brain that just stays like that. For you to develop a growth mindset, you must believe that growth is possible. If you do not believe it, there's no way that you can be able to grow as a leader. You must believe that it is possible and you must be willing to pay the price. Because as a leader, there's a cost. There's always a cost involved. So believe that it's possible. That's the first thing to have in the growth mindset. Believe that it's possible and your brain is malleable, and then get into practice. The more you practice, the better you become at anything you are doing. Somebody asks another question and say, what are some techniques or methods to be leaders in the right way? I'll get to that under strategy. I'll come to that under strategies. What is required to be a leader, since you can't just come and change your community that quick? What is required to be a leader is the ability to take initiative, the ability to see a problem and want to solve it. And you do not need a position to be a leader. You know, some people just want that title of, oh, I am the CEO, I am the team lead, I am the coordinator, to feel kind of proud and, to rub on their ego. But the most fundamental requirement for a leader is that desire to serve people, the desire to want to solve problem for your community. Nobody would ever stop you from solving the problem. In the beginning, a few people might notice, but as you keep on being consistent, people would notice you and say, oh, this person is actually doing a great work. It brings to mind the story of Brandon. I don't know, is the name Brandon or Brandon? The guy that started Humans of New York. Brandon saw a problem. He was very, very passionate, and then he was involved in trading on the New York Stock Exchange market, and he was fired from his job. But then he had a love for photography. And every day he would go out and snap pictures of people, snap pictures of people. As he was snapping, he had to ask people on the street to stop. And then he would snap their picture. It's a very, very difficult thing to do, to stop people, especially in New York, where everyone is very, very busy. But he developed the courage to stop people and snap their portrait picture, just to make them know that they are noticed, that they are not alone in their struggle. And as time went on, he was able to sit with them and hear their stories. And the stories today reaches over 30 million people as a way to promote, a culture of tolerance, for us to see ourselves in other people's story. He did not need to wait for anyone's approval to start that journey. But today is recognized by a lot of organizations and has won multiple awards and is doing an amazing job. So what is required of you is to constantly be on the lookout for what kind of problem can I solve? Where can I be of value? Where can I be of service? That's the requirement for you as a leader. Nobody is born a leader, although some people argue. In the theory, we'll get into that. But just take the initiative and go for it. The next question says, we speak of leaders all the time and we know their importance in our daily lives. But what is position of the followers and how can they also bring the best of those leaders? That's a very, very key question, Abdulaziz. A leader cannot lead without followers. For you to be a leader, there are people that are following you, either intentionally or unintentionally. And they play a very, very key role in your decision. Sometimes also, our problem on the African continent, even though we have failed leadership, is as a result of bad followers as well. We have people that would not, simple things like, putting the trash in a trash can, we blame our leaders. Our leaders cannot come and do that for us. We as followers have to also be good people that others can emulate. We lead by example and take the trash and put it in a trash can instead of just littering the whole environment. Because the environment is ours. It is ours to maintain. Okay? So followers have a very, very important role. And as a leader, it is pertinent that you listen to your followers. Your followers have some perspective that you might not be able to see sometimes as a leader. So it's always good that once in a while you check in with your followers and get critical feedback from them and implement. Don't just hear it, but as you hear it, make sure that you implement valuable feedback that they give you as a leader. Followers are very, very important to bring out the best in you. And if you decide to stay on the high horse and say, oh, I'm the leader, no one can teach me, then you continually be a mediocre leader. You will not get to the next level. You continually stay at that positional leadership. So always listen to them and follow their feedback. The next question says, how would you reward and encourage good work if you treat all employees the same way, even though some people are doing more than others? Will you not create an environment of mediocrity? Okay, when I say treat everyone equally, I mean in terms of respect. Of course, there are people that put in exceptional effort into their work and will do more than other people. And you know something about leadership is that the more you do and produce excellent results, the more people notice and want to give you tasks to do. The more assignments you have on your table. You can't treat everyone equally, of course. You can't pay them equal salary. There's a salary scale. But in terms of respect, when I say treat everyone equally, I mean respecting your team members. In terms of respect, you have to treat everyone with equal respect. Okay? And when there's someone on your team that is not performing well, it falls upon you as a leader to give them a feedback and tell them, hey, you're not meeting up to your expectation. It can be very, very difficult to do at times. Right now, I am trying to create an alumni community for a fellowship I was a part of. I was not assigned to be a leader of that group, but then I took initiative to, coordinate the affairs of the group. And some people are doing more work than the other. So I go back to this person and tell them, hey, 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 you're not pulling your own weight, and that is weighing down on the whole team. Can you do this or not? So that first time I give you the benefit of that and give you feedback. If I give you the next assignment and you're not able to do, I am sorry, but I would have to pull you out from the team so that you don't weigh anybody down because we all committed to do this work. Um, what are some of the characteristics of a good leader? A good leader is able to bring people together. A good leader is able to listen. A good leader is able to take feedback from other people and learn. A good leader is constantly developing themselves because every day comes with a new lesson. A good leader constantly is on the drive to grow and become better each day. In other words, there is no day that goes by where a leader does not ask himself, am I doing better than I was yesterday? Where do I need to improve? Where do I need to do better? A good leader always asks themselves that question. The next question I have is what is the difference between a manager, and a leader? A manager would always be a boss. A manager follows the rules. In other words, what is given in the rules is what a manager would do. A manager will tell you this is what the company's policy says and will not take initiative of their own to make sure that a problem is solved in a unique way. In other words, they're just bossy. But a leader tries to bring everyone together to a consensus, even when the policy does not categorically state to them that this is what needs to be done. A leader would always find a way to bring everyone to be on the same page at all times. Um, is that clear? A leader depends on authority, while a boss, I mean, a manager depends on authority, while a leader depends on goodwill of the people. So as much as possible, try not to be just a manager. Manager needs to develop management skills and the rest like that. Uh, a manager would always use the word I. Managers would always use I. But a leader would always use the word we because we are in this together. A manager would inspire fear because people are saying, oh, this boss wants me to do this one wants me to do this, but then this is not what I want to do. So the leader would always do that. Okay? Are we together? All right. Next question. I just lost the question tab. What is that? What's happening? I can see. Okay, I see the questions now. Okay. Dami is asking to reach the 4 levels. Um, it depends, but yes, you have to pass through the process. The first place that you gain the experience of leadership is that's positional leadership. At that level, you're allowed to make mistakes, you can learn, and then proceed gradually. If nobody trusts you and have seen what you do in your leadership position, either assigned to you or a leadership position that you created for yourself, if nobody sees you in that position, there's no way they can trust you at the pinnacle. Every of the level builds on the other. For you to get to the pinnacle of leadership, you must have built on the people development, you must have built on the permission, you must have built on position for you to perform effectively at the pinnacle level. So yes, you have to go through the five of them because the experience adds on to each other. Should a leader take all the responsibility for failure? Interesting question. Um, for me personally, instead of passing blame, if I have done my part as a leader and we've played, yes, you take responsibility as a leader for failure because you're the one governing. Let's take, for instance, during one of our programs, okay, I was not explicitly told that I would be responsible for communication. There was a break in communication, and I did not know I was supposed to communicate to this person. And on the day that we were supposed to have the program, the person did not show up, and it was a flop. That was my responsibility because I failed on my part to communicate. So I would take responsibility for that fully. When a member of your team that is assigned a task does not do it, you as a leader, were you, you know, conscious enough to follow up with this person and make sure that they are following and they are on task with the assignment that has been given to them? Are they pulling through with it? If they are not doing it and you as a leader failed to pick that up, then you have to take responsibility for it. And as a leader, when you notice that failure is about to happen, because of your initiative to be on the task at all times, you can be able to tell that, oh, this person is not doing it. You step in. You step in as the leader to ensure that the failure is mitigated. Um, we'll come back to questions later. Let's move quickly into leadership theory because I see time is fast spent. We'll come back. We'll get back into the questions later. So over the years, leadership has evolved. The first leadership theory was the great man theory that believes that leaders are born, and it's still a debate that some people have today. Some people believe that leadership is a skills that some people are born with, and some people are not born to be leaders. That's what the great man theory believes, that everyone that is a good leader, in other words, all the heroes we see, are people that were born with these specific leadership skills in them, and that is what has enabled them to be a leader. But I don't agree with that, because if you have a growth mindset, you'll be able to put in the effort required to learn whatever skills you need to learn to become an effective leader. The threat theorist will tell you that, okay, yes, some people are not born with leaders, but then some people are born with genes that allows them to be good leaders. And other people don't have these genes present in them. They give two theories to explain this: the emergent threat theory and then the effectiveness threat theory. The emergent threat theory are those ones that come hereditary, like height, intelligence, and the likes like that. Why the effective one is based on experience of learning. But then there's also the contingency theory, which is the situational, sometimes referred to as the situational theory of leadership. It recommends that the level, the kind of leadership you bring to a situation will depend on the situation that you're in. Sometimes you would have to be charismatic, other times you would have to be autocratic, other times you have to be a dictator. So this theorist proponent says that the type of leadership you exhibit per time is dependent upon the type of situation that you find, which is somehow true. And then we have the process leadership. This is where you have things like servant leadership, learning organization, principle-centered leadership. In other words, these ones believe that a leader has to contribute to the well-being of the whole team. The focus is on social responsibility under the process leadership. The focus is on social responsibility. What do I need to do for my team to become better? And then in the transactional theory, it's a form of leadership that you find, um, especially at level one, position leadership, where people do things not because they want to do it, but because of the fear attached to it. So if you do ABC, you'll be promoted to this position. Like in some universities, we have lecturers that use their position as a way to threaten students and tell students that, okay, if you don't sleep with me, I will not give you this mark. Or they tell you, if you don't pay this bribe, I will not do this for you. Or police officers that will stay on the street and tell you, because of the way the law has empowered them, they will tell you, for me to allow you go, you've been caught for this offense, but for me to allow you go, pay this bribe. That is transactional, giving A to get B. But the place that we want to aim for is a transformational leadership, where you are able to put all your self-interest aside and put the interest of the whole team. In other words, the goal that you all have decided to focus on as one team. That is where we need to get to. We need transformational leaders across our African country that will put aside their personal greed, their personal needs. Because what we find today across the continent is people that get into power and decide that, okay, this is for me, my family, and my friends. Let's eat the national cake as much as we can and then leave power for the next people. And they keep enriching themselves. But a transformational leader will think, what does my country need right now? And sacrifice their own self need for the good of the whole team. We need to get to this level. Transformational leaders engage their followers based on the common values, on their common beliefs as a group, and on their goals. Now that we've covered a bit of leadership, let's go to social influence. Social influence is the change in behavior that one person causes in another, intentionally or unintentionally. Whether you like it or not, wherever you are right now, be it in your family, among your peers, you're creating some kind of change. You're making an impression on people's life, whether positive or negative. You're either influencing people to want to emulate you and be like you, or you're influencing them to say, this person, I have to make sure by all means I don't be like this person, because they've seen some certain traits or behavior in you that they do not want to be in their own life. So we are either intentionally or unintentionally influencing the behavior of other people, either in a positive light or in a negative light. For instance, you find some parents, because of their position in the family as parents that we must obey, they abuse it and abuse their children with, some very, very wicked form of punishment, because they are the leaders. And they don't know that they're influencing their kids. These children will now say, by the time I grow up and have my own children, I have to make sure that I don't follow how my parents treated me to treat my own children. I have to do differently to my own children. Or this president was in office for so and so years and has failed to, put in certain measures to ensure that everyone benefits from their rule. I have to make sure that when I get there, I don't repeat the same mistake. I want to be perceived in a different light. So you have to be very, very conscious, especially with the advent of social media that now helps us to, every minute, every second, there's something being uploaded, either on YouTube or on Instagram. There are a lot of things. And in one way or the other, those things we are seeing are influencing us to become better or influencing us into depression. Because sometimes you look at pictures on Instagram and say, oh, this person is really doing well. But always remember that before that one perfect picture they uploaded on Instagram, there are a lot of imperfect ones that they hid from you. So enjoy your own journey to where you're going to, and don't be pressured to want to be like the bad examples that you're seeing outside there. There are different forms or different types of social influence. There's the compliance, where somebody acts favorable because of what the other person has asked them to do. So in other words, my boss in a positional leadership asked me, "Hey, Stephen, can you make sure that this report is ready by Monday?" Because of the position they occupy, I must comply with them in obedience to what they've told me to do. Okay? The next type of social influence is identification. That was the example I just gave on, where people change their ideas or their behavior or their attitude because of the positive influence you have on them. They admire you so much that they want to identify with the same values and principles that you've exhibited as an individual. That is the identification um, type of way. Another type of social influence is the internalization. Under internalization, I have stayed with you for a while. I have seen the kind of values you operate. And because of that, I have accepted your process and kind of imbibing it in myself to become more and more like you every day. So I'm internalizing your own value system to become my own value system along the way. That's another way of influencing people. The common way that social influence currently happens is conformity. That's where you have peer pressure because people want to become like the other one in a group of 100 people because everyone says, "Oh, I will drink alcohol," because you don't want to look like the old one out, even though you don't drink alcohol. Because you want to please your friends, you go ahead and take alcohol. You go to an office as a leader, you don't collect bribe normally. But because everyone either above you or below you accepts bribe, the environment is a kind of environment that allows the culture of bribe to persist. You succumb to the peer pressure. That's conformity. You conform because the large group is doing it. That's another type of social influence. Another type of influence is the hard power, where people comply with you because you've been given the power, like in the case of government. Government has the power to make whatever kind of rules they choose. They can wake up any day and decide that, oh, we no longer want all these businesses to exist just for personal gain. And all of a sudden, all these businesses are wiped out. Because of that, we're complying to their rules. That is the hard power. Then we have reactance kind of social influence, where you adopt voluntarily another person's point of view because you are reacting to how they will feel, how their behavior will be towards your action. Then we have the obedience, where you obey them because of their authoritative figure. Then we have persuasion. Somebody saying something?
No, it's fine. It's fine.
Oh, okay. All right. So we have persuasion. Some people are very, very gifted that they can persuade you, even when you know you are right. With their words, they can persuade you to move from your right opinion to buy into their wrong opinion. It's a skill that can be learned. The ability to use words as a weapon of influence to make people commit to whatever your idea is, whatever your goal is. It's a good way, persuasion, but it can be very, very dangerous because you can also fall into the other trap of social influence, which is the manipulation. Persuasion can get to the point where it becomes manipulative, where you talk people into doing things not because it is right, but somehow manipulating them to make them feel somehow. You tell somebody that, um, let's take an example of a relationship. So this relationship is a kind of toxic relationship, and you know it is very, very toxic. And each time this person threatens that, okay, they are done with you, they no longer want to have anything to do with you, they want to leave the relationship, you use something like depression or suicide and say, oh, if you leave me, I'm going to kill myself. I really, really love you. And because of the love I have for you, if you leave me, I will kill myself. That is manipulation. That is not a good way to influence people. And some other people use their power in an abusive way to control other people. And another form of influence is propaganda. We saw a lot of propaganda during the early days of COVID-19, where some people said that as a result of 5G, that 5G is the cause of the coronavirus. And that picked on a lot of people, bought the idea that, it is indeed true. You saw a lot of videos coming up on social media that showed people under the 5G max and they are falling down and dying. And some people said, oh, it is actually true that it's possible that it's 5G. There were a lot of conspiracy using propaganda to influence other people's idea. But that is not a good way to influence people. What is a good way to influence people? Now we go quickly into the strategies of how to influence people and be a good leader, even in the 21st century. The first thing is to be mindful of social learning. We have to be mindful of other people's choices. Sometimes we assume that some other person has more information than we do, and as a result of that, we follow whatever they say to us because we are considering, without considering how relevant that decision is to us. So we must be very, very mindful of our social learning. In other words, this person, what they're saying, is it actually factual to me? Okay, we need to be very, very careful when following the choices other people make and be mindful and make sure that they are right for us, that we are not doing it just because we feel and think in our mind that this person has more information than we do, but you actually follow these choices because they are the right things to do. The second thing is to be aware of the equality bias, weigh people's opinion according to their own expertise on their topic. Everyone wants to be an expert in a field, but not all of us. We can't be expert at everything in the room. So you have to be very, very careful that you don't follow the opinion of the majority by believing that because majority of the people believe this is the right thing, therefore they are right. You can be a minority and stand for what is truth and beat your chest boldly and say, yes, I made the right choice, than follow a majority because there are many to do the wrong thing. Okay? So instead of giving everyone equal opinion, equal weight, giving everyone equal weight in their opinion, consider the information that they have and make sure that this person that is speaking is an expert in the field that they're talking about. And be humble. Sometimes the person's opinion that is an expert might be a small child in the room. There might be somebody that is your subordinate. Be humble to learn from them because it's not everything that you would know as a leader. So always stay humble to weigh other people's opinion, even when they're contrary to what you think they should be saying. You can influence behavior by building on common ground instead of trying to prove others wrong. Leaders often fall into the temptation of feeling, oh, by virtue of being a leader, then I am right. My way is the only way. No, that is not true. These people that are working with you also have skills that you do not have as a person. So be very, very deliberate in building a common ground where everyone is open to share their own idea. Instead of feeling like you're a god, step down from your high horse, stoop to conquer, stoop to conquer. Be very, very humble. Don't try always to want to prove a point. Prove a point every time it's a debate, every time it's an argument, every time you want to win. No, that's not your role as a leader. Listen to other people and allow them shine. Allow them a sense of control. That's the other point. Increase people's sense of control. There's this book written by I can't remember the name of the author, but one of the requirements for a fruitful job environment is some level of control over what you do. The book is titled So Good They Can't Ignore You. That's the title of the book, So Good They Can't Ignore You. If you have a copy of that book, I encourage you to read it. One of the things that people need is a sense of control, the ability to feel that, oh, their decision, their voice matters in whatever decision you're taking as a leader. Give them the option of choice, and you will see people do amazing stuff for you. But when you want to be on the high horse and say, oh, I'm the leader, I'm not coming down, you will fail. And these your team members that are there to support you will laugh at you. They will mock you all through. Okay? Also be mindful that your emotions are contagious. So we must use them thoughtfully. Every one of us, it does not matter. People can easily tell that you're not in a good mood. People can also tell that you're in a good mood. People can tell that what you're doing is out of hate or out of love. So you must be very, very conscious of this to make sure that you're emitting the right kind of energy to your team members or the people you lead that are following you so that they're not pulled away from you, but they are drawn closer to you and buy into your idea. Always remember that your emotions are contagious. And to have the team working as one, you must emit these positive emotions to them that encourages them to, be their best. Okay? Rather than threaten people every time and tell them, if you don't do this, this is what will happen to you. I will fire you. I will fire you. Every time you're threatening, I'll fire you. I'll fire you. Induce, a positive strategy instead. Don't allow people to be scared of you. When people are scared of you, even when they have good ideas, they will stay quiet. They might, sense that something is going wrong in this situation. But because of that fear you've instilled in them, they will stay quiet and hold back to themselves and not say anything and watch you, fall into a pit without saying anything. So instead of, threatening people all the time, give them some positive feedback so that everyone helps you with what you want to do. Another point to influence people is to reframe the message and show them possibility. People want to see possibility. When you tell them dooms, 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 everybody's spirit is demoralized and they're not able to, put in their full effort to make sure that you're working towards a common goal. Rather than always speaking about doom, 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 show them the possibility of what is possible and then work together as a team to arrive at that possibility for the team. Make everybody on your team feel valued by involving them. I've said that before. And then take the time to know people. You can't succeed as a leader without relationship. Relationship is very, very important. So stay friendly to your team. Let them know that they are welcome to speak to you and feel free with you and open the lines of communication. Allow communication to constantly flow from you to your team. And by so doing, you all become mutually bought in, mutually invested into whatever it is that you're doing. With social media right now, it is very, very possible to influence millions. Just one post from you can spark a change needed to bring change on our continent. One video clip from you can be the thing that sets, in motion the required change for us as a continent. We need leaders right now that are thoughtful. And the best way I know of to be a social influencer, to be able to influence other people's action, is by being an example. As a leader, we cannot just keep talking and doing a different thing. We must be what we talk and walk the example. Our example will be the strongest tool for influence that we have because then we've produced results. People have seen our lives, they've bought into us, and they know that yes, this person stands for what they are saying and they can follow you as a leader. We need thought leaders, we need visionary leaders, and it falls upon our generation once again to be great. Everything rises and falls on leadership, and we can be that leader beginning right now, beginning this moment. Decide where do you want to contribute and get into action about it. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Stephen. We learned a lot. Everyone is clapping for you in the chat box. And we got
Thank
some
you.
few answers that a few questions that we can answer.
Okay,
Um,
sure. Yeah, you can
Nice.
select the question you want us to answer and then we'll get into it.
Yes. Um, all questions are good actually, and there were more reflections in the chat box when you were speaking.
Oh,
There is a question by Kautar. She says, "How can you detect your leadership skills?"
The best way to detect your leadership skill is to constantly practice. You can't know what is there until you practice and know that, oh, this is a weakness. I need to improve in this area. The more you practice, the better you become at anything. If you remember in Malcolm Gladwell's book, he talks about the 10,000 hours rule. That for you to become good at anything in life, you need to invest a minimum of 10,000 hours at that specific thing to become good in it. So for you to know that you have leadership, take on leadership position. Don't be scared. Some of us are very, very scared when they say, okay, who is going to be a leader? I was about to do something in this session, but I forgot to do it. Who is going to take on the leadership of this? Some people are scared that, oh, I don't have the ability to talk in public. I don't have the ability to communicate very well. But that is an opportunity for you to grab a challenge and then, explore your capabilities. The more you take on challenges, you'll be forced to learn more about how to effectively deliver on the result. And the more you learn about it, the better you become at developing your leadership skills. And you will know that, okay, I am very, very good in communication. I'm very, very good with critical thinking, but I'm not very, very good with team building. So I need to improve on team building. So the more you do, the better you become, and the more things you discover about yourself. So whatever leadership opportunity you see out there, grab it with both hands and serve.
I hope that Qatar got her answer. There is another question. How can we bring people together with different visions?
That's where transformational leadership comes in. It is important that as a leader, you come into a team project with an open mind. Yes, you have your own ideas, but one quality of a leader is the ability to listen. So when you're starting a project, everybody has an idea of what the project will be. So you can do a quick, brief exercise and have sticky notes for everyone to write what their vision of the project, what is their project vision for this idea